You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Friday. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah and our guest, Sunil. We are so excited to have you here today. I'm your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I am a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation coach. And let me bring out the wonderful co-host, Aminah. Welcome.
I feel like I should get confetti going because you're so exciting. And I'm like, gosh, that person needs, and I'm thinking, that's me. Okay. So you just get the silly pictures in the back and me bridging a few worlds.
Well, I want you to tell us all about what you do. First, I want to let people know we are live streaming on Business Talk Radio as always. And my thanks to Chris Roberts, the head broadcast engineer, who is always assisting me, making sure that our sound levels are spot on. And also thank you to our sponsors. So tell us a little bit, Aminah, about the work that you're doing and the value that you bring to this wonderful world.
I hope everybody understands, especially when I give a little more explanation, bridging worlds. My gifts lie in the communication. I am a trained trainer. I have worked in a vet clinic, and I have spent my lifetime studying college and other education from some of the best animal trainers and rescue. I do a lot in the rescue field. Highly want you to adopt at the shelters. We have too many pets out there. So there's my pedestal. I'll get off the bottom step because that's not even the top step close. So I'm bridging those worlds. I have been born with an amazing gift to hear what animals are saying, speaking, feeling. Again, I have done the work to study their body language and how they live. If I'm talking about a carnivore, I'm talking about a whole different animal than an omnivore. I'm talking about a prey as opposed to somebody who eats him. It's all different on how they see the world. It's the same with us. If you were born in a different country, I probably don't know your speciality of what you love to eat. So I help bridge those communications. Do animals speak in English? Kinda, because if you speak to your pet, and that's the biggest thing I want you to walk away with, talk to your pets. They learn your energy when you say those words. Stop usually comes with loud, comes with instant, and they go, oh, what am I supposed to do? Guess what? They usually stop to check you out to see what you're going to do. So do they understand the word stop? No, they understand what it means because you show them that. So speak to your animals, talk to them, hug them, kiss them, get them all the medical care. Absolutely surround yourself with experts in their field. And I hope I'm one of those that is trying. I want to make that relationship better, longer. I am an empath also, so I can feel what you feel and feel what they feel. That's why I'm more successful with animals, I think, is because they are very about how they feel. Happy, sad, mad, glad, or sick. If you're going to talk about, especially like a cat, you better really have a great vet because they will mask what they feel because in the wild they'll be eaten. So you need to get past the masking and or covering up or whatever. And we get to the core of what it is. Do you need a specialist? I'm all about sending you out to a good trainer or a good vet. So I help with that conversation. I have clients all over the world. Because I don't need a picture. I don't need you specifically in front of me. Your energy, your words, we can do it by a telephone call. Yes, would I love to see your pets afterward? Oh yeah, I love collecting all those pictures. It's like having pets, and I don't have to own any of them in my house or clean up the hair or the poop. So I'm light, I'm fun. I hope you join me on Facebook and my website, bridgingworlds.us. All about me.
Bravo. Thank you so much, my friends. You've brought us another incredible guest. You surround yourself with the the best people. Tell us about Sunil.
Sunil stepped into my life. He was really great. He put it either out on Facebook and or Meetup, I think is where I found him. And we met in this great hotel with 15, 20 other people. And he told us all about what does global business masterminds and global business do. He came at a time where I was stepping out publicly as a psychic. I'll tell you, that's one of the scariest things I've done. I can jump off a cliff, high dives, you name it. I went ziplining in Hawaii with thousands of feet of nothing underneath me. But stepping off and going public and saying, this is what I do and this is what I can do was a really big deal. Otherwise, I just did it privately since I was young. And he really helped me as a business owner. He didn't have to know or understand the business, because business is, and Sunil can talk to this. So if I'm way off, Sunil's going to step in there and do a little correction. But if you look at my sign behind me, Bridging Worlds, Love, Understanding and Resolutions for Animals with People, this came from my very first weekend power session with, I don't know, there probably was 10 or 15 of us around this great table. We all just said, this is what my business is. I did kind of the little commercial you just asked me for. Everybody there, they were doctors, they were therapists, they were organizers, every walk of life. And they listened with their heart and their mind and their business mind to what I said and what I didn't say. And this sign was created in that workshop, and I have had it ever since, and it's everywhere. It really rounds up what I do.
I love that. It really does. Bridging Worlds, beautiful.
Yeah, and that came from other people hearing me talk about it. And how authentic is that?
It's totally authentic. And speaking of authentic, let's bring our guest. Woo! Here he comes. Hello,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here and hear a little bit about how you guys connected. So,
I think it was Meetup. I can't imagine it's not. Now Sunil and I, actually know the new CEO. We got to meet with him, and I bragged about Sunil there too. I jumped up and said, "Oh, because I don't remember Tim, Mark, Bob, Frank. What's
Joe, Jim, Steve,
David? Yeah.
There you go, David. See, it's so good. Yay! So David's talking to us about the trains and the turnover, and we were in pandemic coming up. We were still in person, and that was coming. So just kind of they're pivoting, and so he's like, and I'd really like to talk to somebody, and I don't remember exact words, but so I'm paraphrasing wildly here. Somebody who's got this and dynamic and doing lots of people. So because I raised my hand, he didn't see it, and I finally said, David, talk to that man. And Sunil was sitting like two couches because we were in this really great coffee,
right.
It's Silicon Valley. Goodness sake, their break room is like a bloody living room. And so I said, talk to that man. And, and I know they connected because Sunil is helping entrepreneurs fine tune their message. And that's what we all need when we're at the beginning. We're kind of like, does anybody actually going to pay me money to do what I do when I breathe? Because I stop people all the time and say, don't do that. He doesn't like it. And everybody's like, what? Because I speak in the first person. Your dog doesn't like it. And they're like, how would you know that? Oh, let me explain. So Sunil really gives you that path.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it was really great because it became a really deep connection, and I got to know CEO David. We did a couple of webinars together. And was a lot of fun. So I'm happy to share information with all your audience and how to build an audience and for themselves and a community and paying clientele who can pay you a lot of money and love you. Love to pay you. Love to write you a check. Yeah.
There you go.
We all want to get checks. That's for sure. And so
I want Visa. You guys can have the checks.
All right.
What I'm wondering is, in a time when people are still at home for the most part, right? And it's an incredible opportunity to network, to get your brand out. You help people start by building an audience. How do you do this?
Well, you got to start from basics. Building an audience, getting numbers nowadays is, I wouldn't say it's really simple. I wouldn't say it's really easy. but it's kind of straightforward to do. But to get an audience that converts into a thriving community who begins to engage more with you, from which you can get an inner circle of very committed, high-paying clients, that takes a bit of work. And so you got to start with basics, like we did with Aminah, which is to find out what really her, what we call a superpower is. A superpower is a special talent, skill, or ability that puts you head and shoulders above everybody else. And so with Aminah, originally she introduced herself, and she said pet psychic, but doesn't really tell much. But to say you're bridging worlds and helping animals resolve, I can't remember what exactly we came up with. That takes a bit of work, but once you get that, then I come from an engineering background from almost 30 years ago when I stopped doing that. But you can reverse engineer your primary offer that makes you a lot of money, and then design a system that builds an audience, a bigger audience. Some of the people may not know you very well, from which you can call a very good community, people who tend to attend your events more often, and from which you can start getting an inner circle of clients who pay you a lot of money and love you for what you do. So, I did that for myself. I built we have an audience now of almost 190,000 people around the world. They're mostly business owners and professionals, most of the main cities in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, now in Southeast Asia. We'll be in all the main continents except Antarctica for some strange reason. But apart from Antarctica, we'll be in all the continents, including Africa, by the next 12 months, probably less. So, so that's what I do. It's what I love to do. It's my passion to do so. But it starts from really identifying your superpower, what you really offer that is your premium value program, you could say. And that's what people like, because it brings in cash flow in huge chunks and without spending a lot of time, because you may only need 20 clients out of that huge audience that you build to run such a business.
Sunil, thank you for sharing that. I have a question for you. So as someone who is a new business owner, I started this platform in August of last year. How long does it take to build an audience? If you do it the right way, if you do it the way you've done it, how long does it take to build an audience of over 100,000?
Well, 100,000 takes a while, because it took us about 10 years to do so. But that speed in which we're doing it is exponentiating almost every year now, because we're learning more. But to answer your question straight, about 10,000 people within a year is not uncommon. Some people can exceed that if they do the work. It's contingent on how, there are variables involved in this. It depends on the current market, your willingness to do as many events and be involved in it. But if you're willing to do 4 events a month, then that's about 1 event every week. You can build to about 10,000 easily, and then from there, get a committed clientele of 25 people, average paid points of 10,000 per year or more, which it's pretty substantial for some people who are starting out or pivoting their business. We tend to work more with women entrepreneurs. Because guys are just too arrogant sometimes.
Speaking but they can do it themselves.
We're glad that you said that. That's for
sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can say that because I'm
get off the hook for that one.
And I'm arrogant enough to say it.
Hi, Maria. We've got Maria Garcia watching us. Hello.
Welcome.
Nice to have you. Okay, so question that I have for you, and I've been approached numerous times on LinkedIn, other places, where people want me to buy followers, and I've said absolutely not. Aminah, you and I have talked about this before. Is it important to have the number, or is it important to have the content quality people who really are interested in what it is you're doing?
The latter, for sure, because it's a lot easier. Well, it's more straightforward, but and you make tons more money, and you have a lot more fun, and you have a lot more free time. So you choose. Most people, they go the buying route because it's an easy way out. The easy way out is never the easy way out in the long term. Never is. Nothing comes for free. You could say you have to invest something into it. Either your patience, discipline, or some thinking about what you really want in your life, you see, and what do people who you want to serve really want in their life, and how can you give what you really want to give them match what they really want. It's a bit of a mouthful, apologize, but it's the truth. So the more truthful you get about what you really want and what other people get, that level of honesty mostly takes a bit of work, because most people resist it for good reasons, because they like to find the easier solution and avoid some of the hard thinking, which might put you on the spot, because you got to really see and be willing to give up what you think you already know about business and to find out what really works, you know? So I think Gloria Steinem said it, the truth will set you free, but first it might PISS you off. I'm not trying to pain you.
We've had worse said on here, believe me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's actually fun clawing your way up. I feel like it's part of the journey, part of the fun. So we need to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors, but we've got a lot of good content coming up, right, Aminah? Right, Sunil?
Absolutely. I got a really great question for you guys, for Sunil.
All right, beautiful. Stay with us.
Hang on to your seats.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, hold on. Woo. We'll be right back.
Oh my God.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back. We are here with pet psychic Aminah on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, and we're talking business today. We're talking about growing your audience, growing your business, making some money. And with us today, we have an expert in that area. Sunil, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. I want to say hello to some folks who are watching. Mohammed Korfi, Brad Kennel, Tarek Garbouge, I'm sorry if I didn't say that right, Lauren Beaudry, and Castina Sekelariu. Welcome.
Wow.
You are so brave.
Some amazing names.
I would go, hey, you 1, hey, you 2, and thanks, hey, you 3. And Sunil and I have really tough names, so come on.
I know.
Right. True.
So Sunil, I really want to make sure everybody hears just some of the magical things that in the time I have known you, you were talking about knowing a few things. So I'm going to touch on a few. You get to pick and choose and answer as you would. I'd like you to tell us about Rome. So that's one thing. You went to the Vatican.
Oh, right.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was very impressed. So obviously I remembered. So we're gonna drop that little hint, and that kind of stuff. And no, he's not Catholic that I'm aware of, but maybe I don't think so. So that's not.
I went to Catholic school, but that doesn't count really.
Yeah, if you let it go.
It counts against me.
Yeah, but what I love is I'm living those choices that I had coaches and family members, and people who have businesses. And yeah. Jacalyn, I'll bet you deal with this all the time too. Oh, you have to have, so many followers on Facebook, and you have to have LinkedIn. You got to have YouTube. You gotta, because this is what you have to. You have to do emails. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I really want to back up what Sunil said and just change the words for my description. Is you have to be genuine to you. You will garner clients and do better with them if they resonate with the way you speak, the way you explain, the way you show up in your day, honest, cheating, whatever. You'll get all the cheaters if that's what you do. You get all the, you get the mix of what you put out there. I personally hate advertising mail. Getting it. I'm like this. This is my whole goal is how many can I delete today? Delete, because some of them are probably terrific offers, but when you get to the size, especially what you and Sunil are, I'm not going to compare to that because I've tried to really stay very specific and small is, I'm just massively deleting emails all day long. Now I love my box is empty and I pick the ones we do, but focus on the right client. If I hear Sunil correctly, with all he's taught us, is focus on the right client instead of having to be everybody's person, because you're not.
You got to learn to be the general in your army of your business, not the private who digs trenches. And I got nothing against privates in the army, but you got to be strategic first. Which comes from a deeper philosophy of who you are, etc. You got to start at foundational. So a good general understands himself. He knows his strengths and weaknesses and his superpower, like we shared first segment. But then he answers, or she answers, who I want to work with, and what do they need, and what can I provide that, and message it in such a way that it clearly shows me right away and shows them right away that I'm head and shoulders above anybody else in the market. And then how you provide that service is important, but it's actually almost secondary and tertiary. If you spend more time figuring that out and less time trying to prematurely figure out your social media, you'll probably do a lot better actually in your overall marketing. In fact, you'll do better in your social media because your social media is only a tool. It can only follow your strategy. So if you have no strategy, guess what? You will have what we call false social media. You may have a lot of followers, but they don't do anything with you.
Can we say you have no game?
You have no game. Yeah, you're one. Yeah, that's very good. You're like those guys who show up in the stadium and they talk about the people on the floor,
Right.
on the court playing, but
Right.
you're not on the court really. You're commentating on it, but you have really no game. Yeah, that's true.
Sunil,
Very
I
good.
have a question for you also. My question is in reference to people's websites. So, for example, I put up my website and people would just say, hey, I just want to let you know your website doesn't do this and your website should do this.
Wow.
And finally, my business partner said, listen, get the business and we'll fix the website. Like, stop spending
it's
money.
idiotic. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that's from like I've been in business for 30 years. I've seen it all, but that's from like 2002 when someone actually in the website market came up with that plan of doing an analysis for the website and then sending you a
Wow.
really interesting email saying your website sucks and you should work with me.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, because negative advertisement always works.
yeah, you only want to do that if you're a plumber. You come, your toilet's not really working.
It's not sucking.
Well, listen, here's something I want to bring up for all the new entrepreneurs who are out there is that people come out of the woodwork trying to sell you things. And I feel like, and I want you both to weigh on, I feel like it's a distraction. It's like, talk. It's like, no, find your lane, find your audience, build your audience.
lane.
And yeah.
Right.
Find your
Well,
lane.
And that's where Sunil is still in my life. I don't have him much for coaching anymore because I've found my lane. I found my clients. I know where they are. Sorry, Sunil. I don't advertise to men because they are not my client. I have a few male clients and they will find me through the women, and they have, that are there. But women
the men
ask
will
for
come
help.
along because the women come to you, and
Right.
the
I'll get
women
the
will
husband,
drag
the
the men
father.
along.
Right.
Right.
But it's
right.
women who ask for help. It's women who are driving that and are willing to pay to get the help they need. And Sunil's the same thing. A lot of, at least I know in our mixers, the room is majority of women in that thing. It was at my first meeting with you and that type of stuff. So know your audience. I know my audience. I know their age range. So honestly, I don't advertise to men because it's not productive. It's not who's looking for me.
Yeah.
So let me ask Sunil this.
Please.
So let's say people are watching, they're like, oh, well, I have this business and I'm marketing over here. Like I'm on Yelp doing this. And then I put some ad and somebody called me and said, hey, advertise in this golf magazine. I have people calling me all the time and I did it. So my question is, how do you know who your audience is? Do you have to hire someone to do market research? What does that look like?
Well, maybe, but it's mostly you who should be doing the work because the best way to discover your target market is to go out and test the market. That's why we advocate building an audience as soon as possible. It may not be a perfect audience, but you start with one and then you start making offers to them because, there are measures in how we do what we do, and we can see if you're getting engagement over a fair amount of respectful time. But you want to start testing out your offers and seeing if people are willing to at least have a discovery chat with you. They're at least coming to your presentations that you advertise and use Meetup to do that. And are they taking you up on your offers to have a chat? And are you presenting your chat in a good enough way that's landing? Who are you working with, right? So you got to test and refine with an actual audience. So, before you go out and buy a website for $10,000, you better discover who your audience is because that money could be severely wasted. Yeah.
Really good points. So when we look at a startup business, we look at identifying who our audience is, and then we look at, I've been told over and over, you need lead magnets. So you offer the chat and you have the workshop or some type of online webinar. Do you always go in for free? Is everything free when you start out?
Again, these are good questions, but you gotta start with foundationals to answer the question, because it kind of depends. Real consultants will always say, kind of depends. You gotta talk it through. Mostly for those of you who are starting out, because you don't have a brand, you probably want to offer a short discovery chat, but you want to make sure that the people who show up are at least semi-serious about working with you. So you filter people out with questions, and so you can, identify the people who are serious versus not serious, who just want to kick the tire but not really do anything. So there are certain questions we train people doing depending on their market to filter people out. So you only get the creme de la creme of people who are interested in working with you. Not everybody's gonna, come true for you in the first few months. You got to have some patience and a little bit of gut muscle to know that it takes time to test the market and get it. But if you do it, you have the patience, then that kind of patience pays off for the next 5 years for you, because you can build a sustainable engine rather than have a flash in the pan business that may be successful once in a while. So
good direction. Sorry, Amin, I have another question. So how do you know when to just say, you know what, I put a lot of money and time into this, I don't think it's going anywhere? When do you know, like, you're not ever supposed to give up, right? Yeah. But when do you say, it's not going to work?
You're not going to like the answer, because the truth is you'll never know. But at some point, you got to weigh your investment of time and energy and look to see if there's another viable option. But, I'll say this, most people give up too soon. I'll repeat it again for the hard of hearing.
Because they've already left.
They left, or they couldn't. Oh, man, wait a minute.
Exactly. Again, you people who are just leaving this Zoom.
You better hang on. No,
hang on a minute.
It's up to you. But, the people who really are savvy in business know what I'm talking about, because they're the ones who went through this, They're the ones who stuck it through, right? The reason I'm successful is most people gave up in the world of combining Meetup, LinkedIn, and Alignable, which are the platforms we use. And I came up with a very innovative thing, but because I stuck with it and I figured it out. And so, you got to look at, this is a complicated question to figure out exactly when to stop, but you got to look at your cash flow. That's why in our program, we actually have a financial expert who will work with you to figure out what your burn rate is in your finances and how long you can do a smart experiment, what kind of smart experiment to do. So you got to figure that out numerically, but you also got to look at your own willingness, how long you want to stay in that game to test it out. So it's kind of hard to say until you actually work with somebody. The worst thing you can ever do is try to figure out on your own. And I know I may be sounding like I'm selling my services, but it's just the truth. You got to start having dialogue with people who know how to do this. And it's in the dialogue that you discover more clarity on how long you need to stay in the game before you call it quits. But the truth is, you'll never know. How can you ever know? I mean, we don't have a hotline to God or anything like, you say, hey, God, can you tell me?
Yeah, not even me.
You say next 15 minutes.
And you know what he says? Our guides say to us, you just try it out.
You just try it out.
You have to live your life. You got to live your life. And just what you said, do the homework, show up to your life, all this kind of stuff. Now, I have a statement real quick, but you want to go to commercial or do you?
Yeah, and I want to say hello to a new follower because I don't remember seeing this person before. Carlika. I hope I say
what
right.
A name. I love that name.
Menendez. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm trying to see the name of your book, Women Who Pray. Very nice. Very nice.
Well, and she's saying exactly, Sunil, what we're talking about and that type of stuff. And just the real quick, when I decided to go ahead and try the Facebook ad for an example, I went with their algorithm. I said, you know what? I'm going to put this much money in and we're going to just test the market. And then I saw and I was just in that, I'm pretty sure that men is not my thing, but I did the algorithm, did the little ages of who my clients are. And it spectacularly was a waste of time, but I did it, very short, couple weeks. And then I did all women. And I did a narrower age range because the women who can afford me are professionals. So anybody, over their 40s, not in their 20s, that's not real asset. And boom, there we were.
Yeah.
But just these small tests that don't drain your finances, but give you a big enough audience to say, oh, okay, there they are. They're this age, they're this color, they're this size, shape, purple, green, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, good points. We're going to go to commercial, and I just want to read something before we do. One of our sponsors, I feel like I'm on the news desk. Yes, just hot in off the press.
Off the press.
So this is from our sponsor, Listening to Smile. I'm going to play one clip of theirs for our commercial, but this is for entrepreneurs and business owners. Do you understand copyright laws? Did you know that it is illegal and a violation of copyright laws to play CDs, iPods, Spotify, Pandora, and other streaming services for your yoga classes, workshops, retreats, private sessions, live events in your business, in your restaurant, in your bar, in your hair salon, in your doctor's office? If you don't obtain the proper music licensing, performing rights organizations such as BMI and ASCAP consider any use of music in this manner a public performance, and they require you to obtain licenses. So your personal subscription to these things, to Apple, to Pandora, to Spotify, doesn't give you the right to play your music in your business. So let's take a listen to our sponsor, Listening to Smile, and there's a special offer for people watching. Use code RWDJ. We'll be right back.
The music, services, and programs that we offer at Listening to Smile are based off of scientific studies and research, along with our own personal experiences and testimonials from our clients and our affiliates that we work with worldwide. My own personal journey began in around 2010, and I tried to find relief from a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with. And the traditional ways of healing, they tried to fit me in this box, and that didn't work for me for so many reasons. And this led me to a self-discovery that I never expected to be so life-changing. Healing is multifaceted. It requires us to really look at our whole selves and to get really honest about what we see. I started to see movement towards recovery when I started to integrate yoga into my life daily. When I started to incorporate the music into all aspects of my life, including my yoga practice, my healing completely accelerated. And listening to Smile's music helped me to open my consciousness. I was able to open my eyes to new perspectives and make changes that I needed to make in order to recover. The most noticeable difference that I saw right away, like immediately after listening to my first frequency track, was how much my anxiety stopped, completely stopped. There was such a relief. My mind was actually quiet for the first time in so many years. I felt safe. I felt this comfort and this peace immediately. I continued to listen daily, and I found that amazing things were happening inside of me. I felt calmer, I felt happier, I felt like I was in this little bubble of peace. Physically, I started to see the changes happening. I started to see the things happening in my body that needed to happen for me to heal from my illness. I felt empowered, I felt hopeful, and something that I hadn't felt in years. This is why we at Listening to Smile integrate yoga and Listening to Smile music together. We see such a huge benefit from integrating the music into other modalities of healing. It accelerates these modalities, it steps them up to another level because it works on the brainwave states and the neural pathways in the brain. This is something that is not very easy for us to do alone at home, but the Listening to Smile music makes that possible. This is where real change happens. This is where the body and the mind sync up and work towards health of the being as a whole. That is true health. And Listening to Smile frequency music will get you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Yay! Welcome back. I'm so excited. There's so much more information that we're going to hear from Sunil and from Aminah. I want to say hello to Ian Morris and Dana Cato. They are the founders of Listening to Smile, and they are watching right now. Mention code RWDJ when you go to listeningtosmile2.com. Okay, Aminah, I've been asking a million questions. What questions do you have? I don't want to be so greedy.
No, I jump in there. We've been doing this long enough. We play a great tag team. Sunil's been experienced and growing and all that type of stuff. So Sunil, I think the switch, and I'm asking you this question, if this is valid, is I think the switch to online has just helped us grow as business entrepreneurs tremendously with your guidance, with the other people on your team and that type of stuff. We truly, you have kept us, because you're in touch with the heads of Meetup and all that. I know we as organizers have had great contact with them and how to move forward. I think, honestly, I'm a cup half full person, so it's not to disrespect anybody's look at life, but for me, it's okay. When we were told to shut down, it was like, okay, now we're just going to do it different. So instead of wearing a blue blouse every day, I'm going to wear a purple blouse every day. And maybe someday I'll wear a red blouse every day. You know, polka dots, here they come. No, those are just tragic on me. We're never doing polka dots or off-white. No, I look like I died. So you have to know those things, right? You have to have your colors done. You have to have the right coach. Look at that. I fell right into that and didn't even know it. But I think the switch is, yes, we're all going to get healthy together. But if you embrace the change, which I know we all, in Sunil and I's world of all the business people, we're really looking at the difference, and it's opening us up to just so many neat things. If you look at it as the cup is half full, of just like, would you have ever done that? Would you have just stayed in your lane and stayed comfortable and never grown outside of what the little world you said, oh, no, I'm door-to-door salesman. That's my title. That's what I do. I'm a door-to-door salesman. Well, that is illegal and nobody's going to open their door anymore. So you have to change. It's the same when a car was invented and nobody brought the horse anymore because they're pooping all over the street. Change is tough. It's a different way to do it. But is it wrong? No, just get the right person. And that's where Sunil and I had Julie on the show early on. And it's just so much fun to talk to them and see where they're at and where we're all growing. And if it's time to take a break, because you do owe yourself a break, lunch break, right, or 3 months.
Yeah. So let me just expand upon that. So Sunil, I really believe in coaches. I have 6 coaches myself right now, but there's definitely people. I just had a lunch club call with somebody. They don't believe in coaches. They think it's ridiculous. So what is your take on why it's important to hire someone to tell, like, you're already over here and somebody's back here. You can say, hey, between here and here, I'm going to tell you what's coming. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'm not really a coach these days, but I mean, you know, I do believe in coaching, but you know, I'll tell it to you I'll answer a question from the point of view of being a client. Because, you know, I have coaches too now. A coaching relationship has to start with the client. The client has to insist almost on getting clear what he or she wants. Because if you're not clear on what you really want, A, you may not find the right coach. B, you may discover it's a mismatch. C, it gets decidedly weird. And I'll talk more. I think you get the last part. The last part is the most important part, because you have somebody who's going to try to lead you to where you don't know where you want to go, which is, again, very weird. And so it pertains to almost any relationship. You know, I have doctors, I have coaches, I have 6 doctors that I work with for my health breakthroughs. And, you know, I own it. I own the game, because it's not up to the doctors. The doctors tell me what they think will be the best game for me. But I have to declare what my health goals are, where I want to go, how much time I'm willing to spend on each of those things, and never make the doctor wrong or myself wrong. It's not about right or wrong. It's always about being very clear about what the big game is, and is it worth playing that game? And if you're playing a game and you're really up to being very good in the game, you need a good coach. And you need to be clear that you're going to follow that coach, even if it looks like that coach is not a good coach. Because you got to empower the coach at some point, because you hired him, for crying out loud, right? So if you hire a basketball coach, or you have a basketball coach, and you say, well, the coach wants me to only show up. He wants me to show up every 3 times a week to practice, but I'm just going to do 2 times a week because I feel that's just right for me. Well, then you have to give up the right to expect any kind of results. In fact, I mean, if I were the coach, I would fire you. Right? Because it becomes what I call a ridiculous conversation. In fact, there's nothing to converse. I mean, it's just, what do we talk about? So when it comes to coaching, you really got to be really super clear what you want. And if you're not clear, then you got to get into a very intentional conversation with your coach to iron that out. Otherwise, you should give up the right of expecting any results and just plan on having nice social conversations with your coach.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's
real honesty.
Spot on. And we've got Carlika is messaging us saying you won't know where you want to go, right? Be coachable.
You become what I call my math teacher from Singapore, where I grew up. He called my class the where the heck are we the tribe? Become the where the heck are we the tribe?
Hey, Ben Shai's in the house. Woo! He's the Doctor Who of business. This guy, everybody should be all over Clubhouse following this man. He is unbelievable. Okay, he's got a question for us. What if the coach only wants you to practice once a week? Surely you would think they are not a good coach.
Again, it kind of depends, right? I mean, what is your timeline? If your timeline is 5 years to make $100,000, once a week might cut it, right? And so you got to assess and look at with the coach mathematically. I mean, you're a doctor. I'm sure you understand this. Got to look at it mathematically. Is that enough time, frequency? If I miss my results in a week, will I have enough time if I check in only once a week to get back on course, right? If you have a more ambitious goal and you want to meet something in 3 months, you better be meeting at least 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, it's just the truth. And I know some people hate hearing this, but I almost got kicked off a Cisco panel because I told them your mentoring program makes no sense if you're meeting somebody only once a quarter. And that person wants to become a managing leader and he's only an engineer, once a quarter is not going to do anything, right? So you got to gauge it. You got to be realistic about it.
So they didn't like that.
Sorry?
They didn't like that. They put your picture up on the wall with
darts.
Well, they gave me a Cisco Leadership Award.
Wow.
that had no money behind it.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you were talking about with your health, because I think this is really important. And Ben Shai had this comment, never make the doctor right or wrong, follow your own health goals. Because in order to be successful in business, you got to be healthy. You've got to take care of yourself, right? And
Absolutely.
Too often doctors, listen, they might be well-meaning, well-intentioned, but that doesn't mean they're not God. They don't know. You have to do your own research and make your own decisions. Like I know people who will say, I went to the doctor and they told me I have to do this and that. And I said, well, did you do any research? Did you contact another doctor? No, I'm going to just follow them because that's what they tell me. I don't know. That's your choice, right?
It's your choice. But, at the end of the day, the results occurring. And, I think this goes back. This is a very good conversation, by the way. Because you really got to own your life. If you don't own your life and you expect someone else to own it for you, then it becomes very weird.
Yeah.
See, right? Then you're talking about cult and guru, which I don't subscribe to at all. In the early days, I used to do a lot of that. But if you want to have an honoring relationship where you feel honored and you're on track and you're creating high traction, then you got to have this honesty part, this stark, brutal honesty that's got to come into your relationship with the coach. And hopefully you have a coach like that too.
Yeah.
I have a doctor who doesn't mince words. She tells me like it is, right? And I shut up and follow the instructions. And if it's the results are not coming, then I'll have a conversation. I never make her wrong. I go, well, can we make adjustments or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that's the conversation to have. So it's more of a mature adult relationship that people got to learn. I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just telling you the truth.
No, I agree with you. And Ben Shai's comment is my doctor got it wrong with eczema multiple times. And, you know, Ben, I'm sorry that happened. I have eczema also. And I went to 7 doctors before I finally could get somebody to help me. So,
well, in his previous comment too, I don't know if you saw it. It was also about getting rid of coaches and saying, you know what, we can try it for this amount of time and see if we're a good fit. Because like everything, if you're going to pick a coach, it's almost like picking a spouse in the beginning when you're putting your business together, because you
take
need
it that seriously.
Exactly. Thank you. You need them to be reliable. You need them to show up on time, but you have to too. This is symbiotic. You can't have them come this way and you go, oh, maybe. No, they will be as serious. I know, Sunil, you were with us and our team because we had a couple of people that, oh, well, maybe I will. And you helped them focus, and then they kind of floated back and you met that energy. You said, okay, I'll be here when you get around to it. I'll be here. So he didn't walk backwards with us. But when we needed something, then he said, hey, this time they need a little more help. This time I'm going to let them struggle a little and help you find that path. And that's a good parenting. That's a good relationship.
Well, like parenting and like marriage, it has to be.
Exactly.
You want to have fun, but you also want to have your sober period. You know, my mentor, my first mentor said, you know, Sunil, you can be serious and still have fun. In fact, you know, he told me you always avoid being significant, but you add more drama that's required for producing results, right?
Yeah.
And he was a very good mentor for me. I almost became a father figure. But, you know, I learned how to become serious and have fun at the same time.
Yep.
And you got to learn how to do that. Otherwise, you have too much drama. And, you know, then, well, you know, you get what you get with drama, right? Over drama.
Yeah, exactly. And Carlita said the same thing. Carlita saying the same thing. It's not one size fits all. No, one size fits hardly anyone. You know, we are all so unique.
Something I want to address, because this has come up over and over again, and Ben brings a good point. So when I went to find out about being a coach and what you had to do, you do not have to get certified to be a coach. Anyone can say they're a coach. Right. So I don't know if people are aware of the fact that there's the International Coaching Federation, that you have to go through a certification process, but nowhere in the world, to my knowledge, do you have to be certified to say you're a coach. And Ben is saying, unlike having qualifications to practice being a doctor, the coaching industry is the wild, wild west. He's spot on with that. So, you know, you have to think, if you're going to work with a coach, are they certified and are they a good fit? Before we run out of time, we still have a few minutes.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm not certified. I never have been.
But you said you're not a coach.
Well, I'm not a coach anymore, but I had more clients than most other coaches had, you know. The truth is, you know, you gotta learn the art and science of how to create results with other people and expect them to, and, you know, to create enough structure for them to make sure they show up. And, you know, inside of that structure, it's got to be a two-way street. And that's from experience, you see. My mentor, who told me, he certified me unofficially, he just had me sit down at every single client interaction he had. He said, observe, pay attention, take notes. We'll do a debrief later on. That's how I learned to be a coach. He threw me into the deep end of the pool. And then once in a while, he'll pull me in and say, hey, why don't you lead this coaching session? And I'll go, gulp, okay. You know, or why don't you lead this workshop with 200 people here in front of you? And, you know, I learned that way. I learned from mistakes, you see. So, you know, I don't know the whole thing about certification. I'm not trying to poo-poo any certification, but the real thing is you got to look at people with experience and
Yeah.
go walk their talk. That's the most important thing, Yeah.
I agree with you. Sunil, before we run out of time, I want to make sure that people understand how you work with new clients, what that onboarding process looks like, and then the best way to get in touch with you.
You can get in touch with me with going to exponentialaudience.com, sign up for my free report, do that. And, that's probably the best way to do it. Come to my free events so you get a sense of what we do. You'll get a very good sense from our free educationals. You can also go to meetup.com and search for Sunil, Sunil, or my full name, Sunil Bhaskaran, probably. From anywhere in the world, probably you'll find my meetup groups and my meetup events, and you can attend to them because they're all online right now. So you even if you're in any part of the world, you can attend them as long as you have internet connection. So that's probably the best and easiest way to do it. We don't work with everyone. So, if you come to our events and you like and you resonate with what we're talking about, then we can have a short chat and see if we're a match from that point. I'm not trying to be elusive. I'm just trying to be really honest. We want to make sure we're a match, and there's total integrity, 1000% integrity before we move on.
So it sounds like there's an application process and then there's a conversation.
Well, it's more like an interview process. We interview you as much as you should interview us. And you'll find it's a very honest conversation, but it's a very fun conversation because I like to have fun and be serious, cut through the chase, so you can cut through the chase as well very quickly. But the best way is to come to our educational events that me and my business partner, Sandra Hughes is an amazing business mentor as well. She helped open up Gap in Europe. She's talk about mentoring. She's still mentored by the president of Harvard University. So you get a sense, what the quality of people you're interacting with. So yeah, come to our free educational events. Maybe I'll find a link to our free educational events and you can post it, Dr. Jacalyn, if it makes sense. Yeah,
I would love that. That's wonderful. So it's hard to believe, as always, our shows just fly by. It's been a pleasure having you here, Sunil. Any last words for business owners out there, or any just message you want to give to our audience?
Well, I think the most important thing is to really figure out the questions, if I can make it simple and easy enough, and dirty easy, is spend it in the next week, if you need to, on who you're going to work with, what do you primarily want to offer, why is it head and shoulders, why is your offer and what you provide, everything in your business, head and shoulders above everybody else in your who's could be competition for you. And that's time well spent. That's a good place to start from if you want to do your marketing. If you haven't done it yet, or you're not clear about the answers to those questions, then you should probably spend time doing that. So I'll leave it at that. But I also want to leave, I'll post one of my groups that you can join for free to learn more about our educational events and start from there. It's all totally free to join.
Okay, I'm going to post it here. Just give me one moment. And Aminah.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to leave with our audience today?
Go hug a cat. Go hug a dog. Leave the raccoons alone. I would hug a snake, but nobody wants to do that, so I don't offer that one, and talk to the spiders and that type of stuff. Be genuine to yourself. I think that's what I'd like everybody to go away with, to be doing what I do with nature, trees, and all that. The people that I have invited, if you guys have come week after week, and hopefully you will continue, is Sunil was there when I wasn't sure, and I had never told anybody publicly that I was a psychic until this trajectory in my life. My family knew, but nobody else, not even my siblings. So you need that support when you're doing something and saying, am I good enough? Or do I have the right ideas? We'll get the right support and have them put your message together like mine, and it will follow you around because it supports you. If I have any doubts, then I just think about, the woman I helped yesterday and through a really trying time with her dog, and she walked away relieved and helped and supported. That's what coaches do. It doesn't matter if it's my kind of coaching, Dr. Jacalyn, yours, or Sunil, it's yours. We are out there to help people do it better, whatever they need.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm streaming this meetup, meetup.com/business networking events, marketing, sales, leads, referrals, everything that you need to have your business grow your audience. So thank you for that, Sunil. Okay, I'm just going to give some information myself. We have 2 shows coming up. One is right around the corner at 5 o'clock. It's Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And my guest today is Jan White, and she is a cancer advocate. She has survived cancer. She is a business owner, and she's an incredible story to share. At 6 o'clock, it's the Variety Show. My co-host, Lori Mendelson, is not able to join us. She is the night off. So Mr. Alcini is stepping in, and he will be co-host. Our special guest is Mr. Kent Swampy Glade, and he's an environmentalist, and that is definitely going to be a fabulous show. So thank you for joining us. I have 2 other announcements. We started a new show today. It's Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure. It's Fridays at noon. My co-host is Diane Floyd Bames. She's an international award-winning author. And we had a guest today, Marcelo Jones from Paris, and he is a TV show host, a fashion critic. He is a professor at the Sorbonne, and he is an award-winning humanitarian. So if you missed that, please go to YouTube and check it out. We were supposed to meet for 40 minutes. It was a 2-hour interview, and we could have kept going on, but I had another meeting after that. And our other new show that's coming on the 21st is with Ian Pelham Turner, and it is called Royally Rich, the Great Britain Edition. So I hope that you'll join us. We appreciate you following us. It's been a pleasure having you. So thank you so much, and we will see you again next time. Take care.
Every day it was the same old story. I worked hard to make sure no one noticed what I was dealing with, but my stomach never cared where I was. And the pain just kept coming. After too many close calls and even weight loss, I had to do something. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation helped me realize what was going on and even helped me find a specialist. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org.